When my mum was a schoolgirl, she used to travel on public transport on the tube in North London, and so did many of the students at the school at the time, and also so did many of the staff. And so there was a rule at the school that you were not to be caught eating on the tube whilst wearing your school uniform, because you represented the school. It was an all-girls school, and it was considered unladylike to be eating in public. I think many of us would have objections to people eating on the tube, but the point then was that you represented the school. I find a similar sort of expectation on myself when I'm driving my car and wearing a dog collar. It's quite a challenge. I'm more aware of needing to drive carefully, which is terrible, isn't it? Because I should just drive carefully anyway. But that picks up on a verse in our passage from today in Philippians chapter 1. Paul says there that we should conduct ourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. Let me read you the whole section, Philippians 1 verses 27 to 30. Whatever happens, conduct yourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. Then, whether I come and see you or only hear about you in my absence, I will know that you stand firm in the one Spirit, striving together as one for the faith of the gospel, without being frightened in any way by those who oppose you. This is a sign to them that they will be destroyed, but that you will be saved, and that by God. For it has been granted to you on behalf of Christ not only to believe in him, but also to suffer for him, since you are going through the same struggle you saw I had, and now hear that I still have. Quite a lot in there, but let's just focus on that first verse for a moment, verse 27. Conduct yourself in a manner worthy of the gospel. Think of an ambassador here who represents their country. Rather, as I said, my mum was expected to represent the school in her uniform, or I feel very responsible for the whole reputation of the church when I'm out and about in my dog collar. Paul links good conduct with standing firm, and it picks up on what he says in both 2 Corinthians and Ephesians, that all Christians are ambassadors. People, if they know we're Christians, see us and watch us. Some, he says, will oppose us. They will be critical of us. They will be eager to jump on every mistake we make, every sin we commit, every time we do something that they consider is not consistent with their understanding of Christianity. There's an old chorus that in some ways I'm glad we don't sing anymore, but the refrain was, they are watching you, marking all you do, hearing the things you say. Let them see the Saviour as he shines in you. Let his power enfold you every day. They are watching you. Oh, it feels like a pressure, doesn't it? We mustn't let it feel too much like a pressure. But all of us know that one of the biggest criticisms that people who are not Christians like to level at the church is that it's full of hypocrites. And so our good conduct, what we do matching up with what we say and what we believe, it is really important. The reputation of the church, indeed the reputation of Christ, is impacted by our bad behaviour. Now, God is bigger than that, and he can break through the worst of our mistakes. He forgives us and he loves us. But let's think for a moment about, what do people see of us at this time? What do they see of us online? What do they see of us if we bump into them socially distanced but walking down the street? What do people see of our lives in our workplaces, in our families, in our neighbourhoods? Are we conducting ourselves in a manner worthy of Christ? My driving, not just when I'm wearing my dog collar, but all the time, is a great example of that. And I think for all of us, who are you when people are looking and when no one is looking? Paul also says here that when we conduct ourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ, it enables us to stand together. We can stand firm in the one Spirit, striving together as one for the faith of the gospel without being frightened in any way. Let's encourage one another today to stand firm, through our good conduct in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ.